Hi everyone! Today I thought we'll do a bit of an abstract piece, and first of all I will put a color palette together and pick some art supplies to play with, and then we'll go into the process which will be in real time. So I'm just speeding up this part of the video first. So here I'm going in with the Albrecht Dürer. Let's see, the first one was cobalt green, then we had the Caran Museum Aquarelle beryl green and light malachite green. So these are great for water soluble properties because you can use them like watercolor, and you'll see how I prefer using them later on in the video. I'm also intending to incorporate my watercolors from the Earthy Tones palette because I thought that would work really well. Here I'm going in with the liquid watercolors from Ecoline, and two of the colors are yellow ochre and deep ochre, and I think later on I introduce the burnt sienna as well. And now I'm taking off the film of that beautiful oil stick that I'm so obsessed with, and I really love using it. It's by Shiva and it's literally called Artist's Paintstik. So what it is, it's oil paint in a stick form, which dries within 24 hours, maybe even less. It literally does not smudge at all. I might show you the dried version in one of the following videos. It's brilliant. It is very smooth, and it's a very tactile paint. I love kind of smudging it with my fingers, blending it on paper. Let's have a look. I'm going to just do a bit of playtime. So I'm going to go for the raw sienna from my palette. It's got a little bit of a gold shimmer there. So I'm going to go for wonky kind of round shapes. And let's see what happens. While it's wet, I want to introduce a little bit of this color here. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to connect the two together. And then over on this side, I'm going to go with that yellow ochre and just kind of create something like that. All I'm thinking about at the minute is just playing with textures, colors, that sort of a thing, and how the mediums are interacting. And foremost, just enjoying little discoveries. Okay, let's see. Let's add a bit of red here. So this is burnt sienna, and the yellow was the titanium orange. Maybe I'll just elongate it. That's it. See what happens there. And I like this sort of toffee color, which is that raw sienna. So I think I might just add one over here. It's quite pretty when the light hits it and it has that gold sheen to it. And then I'll go with the orange titanium, quite loaded this time. To make it really orangey and opaque. So let's see what else. It was quite nice to have these effects, so I'm going to try doing that over here with the possibly the darker color. Actually, I have even one which is darker, and that is burnt sienna. So I'll swatch it out here at the bottom. Oops, sorry you couldn't see that. There we go. So that's a nice color here. So let's see what happens there. That's quite a nice effect. And then I might just do little dots like that. Why not? Let's see what happens here. So just when it's a little bit wet still, we're going to get a slightly different effect. And then I actually quite like that contrast, so I think I'll leave it at that and just repeat it somewhere offset, maybe around, oops, that's too much, don't want too much of it. So if it's too much, what I might do, just kind of get the colors to move a little bit. That's it. So I'm still leaving that contrast there, just playing around, creating a bit more background. And then into that, if I wanted to bring a bit of that mustardy yellow color, what I could do is again just dab it on. And maybe even continue with that sort of texture over here. And just build it a little. Okay. Play with it, you know, like you would play with watercolor. And just have fun. Alright, I think that's probably enough with these mediums. I might want to move on to the other ones. Now the other ones are which ones did I like the best? I think this one works quite well, but then yeah, let's try this one. So I'm going to go for the light malachite green, and the best thing with them is when you introduce wet. So go into something that's still a little bit wet, it will drag out the paint together with the pencil, and you get these most magical kind of spirals of color. Which I absolutely love. So again, let's try it over here. So you've got the pigment of the pencil mixing together with whatever you have there, whether it's a dye from the liquid watercolor or it's the pigments from the still wet watercolors or just the waters, anything that it will mix into creates just these beautiful little movements. So let's see if I can do that somewhere here a little. So you want to see a bit of the malachite, but mostly mixing it with something else is how I like it anyway. So that's probably enough. I might go with a slightly darker. Let me go with the, what was that again? Cobalt green. I'll go with a bit of that and just add a bit of texture again. Again, dry and wet, and you know, just play with it. I think this is where it's so much fun. And you also will realize great mixes that you might not like as much as others, all comes through play. And sometimes it's really surprising. You might think it's actually going to look quite ugly, and then you try it and it just works beautifully. Okay, so I think that's it for that. And to move on to the next one, this I like to be dry. So I'm gonna dry it and come back to the oil sticks. So the thing that I tend to do if I'm not certain about a medium, maybe it's a new art supply that I'm trying, or maybe it needs a little bit extra time to dry, like the oil sticks, which is about, you know, a day. I find they're then completely solid, so you would not transfer it whatsoever. I tend to grab, I bought a whole pack of these rice paper sheets on Amazon. They're quite affordable, and basically they're very lightweight. So what I tend to do is I leave a piece of paper like that in between if I needed to move on and work on the next page and I couldn't leave this sketchbook, you know, overnight and then work on another sketchbook at that time. So if I wanted to move on straight away, I would basically deal with it that way. So then I would ensure nothing would print out or print onto the other page. So that's what I'm going to do today. I think that's a nice little trick because this paper is quite nicely absorbent in terms of picking up anything if there is anything to pick up, and it's lightweight as well, so it doesn't create loads of, you know, thickness if you needed to do this on a few pages, for instance. Okay, so we have something very pretty here, which is, I can see that gold from the watercolor, from this raw sienna right here. It has mixed with the water and gone inside this little bubble, which was, I believe it was the Deep Ochre by Ecoline. So they two mixed really interestingly, and that created something really pretty. I quite like the veining that is created when the liquid watercolor is used with the traditional watercolors. So that's a nice thing I have learned, and something I have done before, but really enjoy that. So you can see that here and there and all of these areas. And what else? Obviously these areas that I enjoy doing, running the watercolor pencils through wet areas and mixing it with other colors, especially if they're strong colors. Again, these areas have the nice veining. So what I would do next is look at the piece and think, is there something that stands out to me that doesn't look harmonious, something that needs perhaps a little bit more working? And that's when I would either go for acrylic paints or these oil sticks. So I would say that this area here isn't really clear of what's going on. So what I might want to do is find a way of layering the oil sticks. So possibly like so, because remember they're quite opaque. So if you need to cover anything, this is the time to do it. It also creates more dimension. It creates a little bit of extra bit of something. So I would do maybe a smaller here. and that would be enough for the pink. And then they're great with working with your fingers. So if you wanted a more smooth area, you could do that. If you wanted, so like this for instance, softening the edges a little, blend them, you can create that. You can create a more rough edges as well. And then I'm quite happy, but there's a little bit of this, so I could introduce this color. So for instance here, I think in a smaller quantity, and maybe try and blend the two together, see what happens there. And that's it. And obviously, because this is a similar color to a lot of the other colors that are on here, make sure you place it over a contrasting color so that you can actually see it rather than completely blend it in. So what I might want to do is just add a bit of textural thing here. And that's it. Maybe a couple here, layering them over the other mediums. And I actually feel like something lighter now. I feel that one of those colors that I used before, either the beige or the white, maybe the white actually. Yeah. So this is the, I think, ivory white or something. Let's see. This one is the titanium white. And I'm gonna get a tissue again and do what I did before, just taking the top off like that. That's it. So this is a white, and it's so beautiful because it's very opaque. It would go over anything. So I'm just mixing it in a few areas. Maybe a couple here actually, like so. Alright, that's it. So that was really fun, relatively quick and super satisfying. Looking at the screen now, what actually helps is to look down as it is onto my art, and then I look onto the camera display, and I can tell you that this area looks really luscious. So I really would repeat this again, you know, mixing the opaqueness of the materials and the supplies. I find this area, and particularly actually this one, very delicious. So the beautiful turquoise color mixing with the yellow ochre next to that titanium orange, there's just a little magic happening right here. I also like this area here. So loads of things that are quite interesting and something that I will take into my art next time. So I hope you found this somewhat useful, and it's a lovely sunny day today, and I hope this reflects the mood and the sunniness and the goodness, and that you will have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon.